Hey everyone, it's iMage, and looking at the video you can obviously see that I did some duo corping lately. I actually went duo corping with my friend Red Row Knight. He was really cool. He got a clanmate to loan me a Zamorak Spear, which was nice because I couldn't buy one myself. I couldn't actually afford it without selling most of my items, and I wanted to avoid that as much as I could. So that was a big help, and I'm sorry to him actually because I left early because I left for dinner, and then after that I just kind of didn't come back to my house. So I ditched out on him in the middle of our trip, but I think we got over like 10, 15. I think we might have gotten 15 kills, maybe more than that. During our trip, we actually got, let's see, the only thing good, sorry if I just hit my mic, but the only thing good that we actually got was Onyx Bolts. Other than that, we were getting Death Runes, Law Runes, Watermelon Seeds. And overall, it actually turned a profit, which I thought was kind of weird. So I had to do a little bit more looking into what my inventory and supplies were, how I was going at it, and what we were getting for drops. So the drops that we were actually getting were fairly common. They were pretty actually bad. Some of them were, and they were like Law Runes, Death Runes, Watermelon Seeds, like I just said. And if you know anything from Corp, those aren't that good of drops, and they only give you like 20 to 50k per drop. So if you look at that, you have to actually check that to the inventory cost. So my inventory cost, what was I using? I was using 10 to 11 brews per run, and then maybe 2 super restores. And that was just because I didn't margin my brews very well. I mean, I had like 8 super restores, only used like 2 of them. So I mean, obviously I could change that. But we were getting about 4 kills a trip, so we got about 200k per run that we did, and then the supplies that we actually had were about 150k. So all in all, we actually did turn a profit, which I thought was weird. And then I realized that the combat beta has actually seriously affected the game so far, because brews have crashed. Brews are right now I think like 13k for a brew flask, when it used to be 13k for a brew 4 dose. I do remember when brew 4 doses were that much. It was not too long ago actually, and they actually rose even though everything else crashed in the game. But some things that I thought were weird were, well, what would have happened if we would have gotten a drop? And if we would have gotten a drop now, the prices of Elysians and of Arcanes are all messed up, and I think Spectral too maybe. But Arcane right now is going to be the magic absorbing shield, and the problem with that is that you now have 3 separate shields that do 3 separate things. So I mean, that would be alright if you owned all 3 shields, because then you wouldn't be boss specific. But if you only own one of the shields, then you are boss specific, which means that you can only really do a boss effectively if it's using that kind of combat style. So let's say a boss attacks with magic damage, that's its main source of damage. You're only really going to use an arcane there, and then the other 2 shields will be useless. But if you want to go to a different boss, then you have to have a Divine or Elysian, because different bosses switch with different things. Like if I went from, I don't want to say Corp because you use a Spirit Corp. Let's say go Nex and you're using an Arcane to tank some of the magic damage, and then you go to Bandos to switch off to a Divine, and then you have to tank some of the melee damage. And I'm saying you tank some of the melee damage because in the future combat system, the prayer is not going to be that effective, and then you're not going to have to pray, so you actually will have to tank. If you guys haven't seen that yet, none of the God of War's bosses, actually none of the bosses put out that much damage output, so that you don't actually have to end up praying, and prayer isn't that specific. But the reason why I don't like this is because it's only really effective if you own all 3 shields, and right now all 3 shields would cost about 600 mil, I think. I think Elysians are about 200 mil. And then Arcanes are going up to about 100, and then I'm going to say Divine is 300 because I haven't checked it yet. But that's kind of ridiculous, because if you spend 600 mil on one item spot to effectively boss, then the rest of your inventory, which you have, what, another 10 slots, the rest of that is going to be basically the rest of your bank. And if only one item slot is 600 mil, then the other item slots, including, because you're going to need Virtus and Pernix and Torvo now, because you have every type of boss that you want to go to do it effectively, you have to have every armor set. So now you're spending like 7 bill on your armor. And I think Jagex actually have to look at this, because if Jagex want to keep the current drop rates that everything's at, then they have to do something that you can actually make more money. Because if you're gonna make people spend 10 bill to boss, why the hell would anyone be doing it? Because it's super ineffective, and there really is no kind of select armor set for magic if you're lower level. So you basically use Mystic, or you use I don't want to say that anymore because now I just remember that there's Ganodermic. But I hope you get what I mean, because if you're going to have all 3 armor sets and all 3 weapons and everything, then you're going to have to be spending a lot of money. And I think Jagex have to change that, or kind of adjust it so that either stuff drop more or that you can make more money. I'm not sure how they would do that, try to make skilling more effective. I have no idea. But I think that's something that they have to work on in the long run, or else the game's going to be kind of not exactly not fun, but it won't be as interesting or as fun if you have to spend. I don't know how long it would take me to get 10 bill. A couple years. It would take me a really long time. But that's just one of the things that I actually learned from Corping a couple days ago, was that it could end up being pretty effective if you start doing it right now, because you actually start making as much money as you can, so that you can actually have fun in the next combat beta update. So, all in all, you know, if you liked watching me do a corp for a while, thank you very much, and I hope you liked the video if so. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed, go for that too. Thank you guys if you have subscribed, and I want to show you guys some PVM content because I've been lacking on that lately. Other than that, I think don't actually worry about this video. It's kind of like an update video before I go make a Gathering Dragon, because I'm gonna go make one of those right now, and you guys can actually expect that within the next day or a couple hours. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you again pretty soon. Other than that, you guys, see you and goodbye.
Hey everybody, it's iMage Rex.
What am I doing
this
here?
week we had the action
I
dragon.
am
Actually,
actually
going to show you
and
the
I
action
have
dragon
more
solo
cows,
trip.
and
We're just
I
using
a
a little bit of it,
cool.
and I'm
Rough
going to
stuff.
this is my review.